Dette er veldig viktig kunnskap å ha om gull. For gull er jo også et metall, gull og sølv er jo også et metall som selges på børsen, som da ETF, altså papirgull og papirsølv. Og det er jo solgt mye mer papirgull og papirsølv enn det egentlig er. Folk tror de eier gull, men de eier ikke fysisk gull, de eier det bare på papirer. Men det er papirgullet som setter prisen på spotprisen på gullet. Og hvis børsen går ned, så kan veldig godt og folk selger gjerne papirgullet sitt, for de trenger penger og short-posisjoner. Så gullet blir jo også shortet og alt dette her. Så denne filmen her dette er noe jeg må ha i bakhodet når jeg går inn i gull. At det er jo et kasino, hele børsen og hele finanssystemet er jo egentlig et stort kasino på en måte. Så dette er veldig viktige kunnskap å ha hvis en går inn i dette markedet. Dette er mer sånn teknisk. Så her er en som forklarer det veldig, veldig bra hvordan dette virker. For gull er jo ikke noe du kjøper og selger egentlig. Det er langsiktig. Når du konverterer over gull og sølv, så er det langsiktige investeringer. Du kan ikke gå inn bare liksom, nå skal jeg gå inn i gull i 2 måneder. Da kjøper du ikke gull, da kjøper du aksjer og sånne ting. Så nå forklarer han dette her veldig bra.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Elijah.
Well, it's great to have you today, and I know that a lot of people are very excited about the metals markets. We've seen quite a rally recently in the last couple months. Your perspective actually is, though, that we could see a significant downturn here if we see a recession hit or a downturn in the stock market. Can you give us your perspective on where we are right now in the metals?
Sure. So let me jump to my screen here and share a couple things. So where I think we could be in terms of the metals market, I actually kind of want to jump over to how market stages, market cycles work. So let's just jump over to the stock market and economic cycle here. And if we take a look at these 2 cycles, this blue cycle here is the stock market. And what we're looking here is typically energy and precious metals can become a leading sector in the last kind of legs, the last stages of a stock market before it goes into a bigger correction, before we start a recession in the economy as well. And of course, we've seen precious metals really come to life. And it's really important because the last few times we've seen precious metals outperform everything else, lead the way in this type of stage of a market, a late stage market, we go into a very big market correction. And to give you a feel of that, if we take a look at the 4 stages that the market is in, which is a stage 1 basing, a stage 2 advance, which is like a bull market phase. Stage 3 is a topping phase, which is I think where we are now. And a stage 4 is a decline. Stage 4 is much more than a standard decline. It's not like the 2022 bear market. Stage 4 decline is like the tech bubble, 2000, 2001 multi-year correction. Stage 4 is the 2008 financial crisis. It's a big breakdown in the financial markets that resets valuations for stocks, bonds, real estate, all kinds of different things. And I think that is what will be coming next. So going back to looking at the markets, when we go to precious metals, now this chart here has got this indicator across the bottom. And this indicator uses my strategy. When it's red, it's telling us to be out of the stock market. You don't want to be holding stocks because from a technical analysis standpoint, from a position in risk management, money flow really isn't there. There isn't true clean direction of a strong trend at play. So it's a high risk opportunity. And what we're seeing in the precious metal space, while the stock market is red, telling us, hey, sit in cash or go find an alternative asset to invest in, well, gold miners had a substantial rally. And just as the stock market gave us green bars across here saying, hey, it's actually time to get invested into the stock market again for another move, well, money was flowing out of gold, gold miners, silver. We saw them sell off. Again, we got another sell signal in the stock market, these red bars across the bottom. Gold miners became a huge market leader, leading the way. Silver miners, gold threatening to break to all-time highs. And just a few days ago, we got a new buy signal on the stock market, and it looks like miners may have put in a top and could sell back off going forward. And of course, this means we'll probably see gold pull back as well, silver because they're pretty much all the same kind of play here. So that's the big disconnect in the market right now is we are seeing when stocks are struggling, we're seeing precious metals move higher. And I think we could see the stock market. I think the stock market is actually going to continue to move higher here. And we could see short-term wise, precious metals and miners pull back. But let's go take a look at the long-term chart of gold. If we go to the monthly chart of gold, obviously it's a pretty exciting times because gold is so close to breaking to new highs. The thing we need to be aware of here are these this upper range. So we've had gold come up and put in a topping candle, which means it has a long upper wick, but by the end of this bar, which is a monthly bar, it closed way lower, dramatically lower, and then had a multi-month correction. Last time it got up here, same type of thing. It rallied up, everybody was really excited, and then gold went into a nosedive. And we've had a push up. Maybe that's all we're going to get, but we still have another week left of the month. But overall, it has pushed up into this resistance zone where these other wicks have been and been rejected, and we're closing down near the lows. So I think we could very easily see here, gold may have sucked a lot of people in to get long, expecting a big breakout, but it might have actually just been the market's kind of doing an intra-month run-up, trying to squeeze the shorts out, trying to get everybody long, and it might go into a bit of a correction because the stock market might become favorable. It is favorable right now. If money's moving into stocks, it's...
Det som er viktig å ha i bakhodet her, det er at den norske kroner har jo svekket seg enormt i forhold til dollaren. Han snakker jo om i dollar nå, så dollaren, altså gullet har vært ikke så lukrativt for i dollar, men for oss så det i norske kroner, så har det vært helt fantastisk på grunn av det at norske kroner har jo duttet med 90% på 12 år. Sånn at i norske kroner så har det vært mye bedre for oss, men nå han snakker ut i for dollar, så det er veldig viktig å ha i bakhodet. Sånn at det har vært, nå ser de jo at det har potensialet som går opp i dollar også, men den norske kroner har jo allerede gitt godt opp. Eneste så kan være fare i Norge, det er hvis de klarer å styrke den norske kroner, så blir det ikke så godt. Men sånn som det ser ut, så kan den norske kroner bare svekke seg enda mer, og da blir det bare enda bedre enn i dollar, hvis den fortsetter den kronesvekkelsen vi har, for det er alvorlig. Det er mange som ikke helt forstår dette her, for gullet lever sitt liv, og dollar lever sitt liv, og norske kroner lever litt sitt liv. Alt lever sitt liv.
It's going to naturally want to move out of the defensive plays like gold, silver, and miners. And so that's kind of the short-term view. Over the next month or two, we could see stocks move up, precious metals space kind of take a back seat and cool down for a little bit. But as you were mentioning before, there's potential here for a much bigger correction, I think, in precious metals. If we go into a stage 4 decline, the last time we saw this, and of course it looks dwarfed from this huge chart, but we saw this in 2008. Gold pulled back 34%. I think we're going to go into another stage 4 decline, and gold may pull back down to these lows. And it could even go lower short term before having a knee-jerk reaction recovery and then rally higher. So, I mean, you and I have talked about this quite a bit, Elijah, this long-term view of my view, at least, that the gold market still has a lot of headwinds over the next potential year if the stock market has a bigger correction. But really, it's going to be a buying opportunity if it pulls back. And after the stock market has this pullback, I think the precious metal space is going to be off to the races. You know, 2,700 for gold and beyond going forward. Silver will take off probably $50 plus. So I'm really excited about it. But I mean, I do think short-term wise, the precious metal space still has headwind. I mean, it's had a really nice rally from the lows off 1,600. But when you look at this big super cycle to the upside, you know, we're still early stages of this. The beginning of the last super cycle was about 2001. The beginning of this super cycle actually started in 2019. We've got a long ways to go, many, many years of potential precious metals doing very well after it works out the kinks here with the economy potentially going into recession, stock market correcting. When there's big selling in the financial markets, it naturally pulls most assets, including gold, down with it in most cases. But again, gold is going to become a shining star, I think. Hopefully by the end of this year, we see it stabilize and start to break out and run.
Now, some people have talked about how this pullback in the stock market could be different, or this crash in the stock market could be different, and people won't rush out of precious metals like they did back in 2008. Because one of the reasons, obviously, is the banking crisis that we've seen. A lot of this move has been driven from people taking money out of the banks and wanting some sort of safety in precious metals. Your perspective on that, could it be that this time people are afraid of just holding dollars, so they go from the stock market into precious metals instead, and we don't see that pullback?
I think there's a very good case for gold to hold up. I think there's a reason why gold is trading up near the highs, and that's probably because of the banking crisis. It's probably also because of cryptos just getting annihilated and beat up, and people losing their shirts and accounts getting hacked and all that stuff. I mean, it is much easier to hold on to a bar of gold or bars of silver than it is to keep money in a bank or crypto that you wake up and maybe your exchange just got hacked and you're out of all your money. So gold is like that physical asset that has a physical value. You can hold on to it, you can bury it, you can store it somewhere, versus the financial system, which is somewhat corrupt. It's brittle. Things start to fall apart, and brokers and accounts blow up, and banks go under, and cryptos, So gold has got that shining star. I mean, we've gone from one extreme to the other. Everybody was physical many, many years ago, physical gold. Then everybody went crypto space, and a lot of people are suffering pretty bad. And now they're coming back to kind of the most secure asset, of physical metal, gold, going forward. So I think we could see gold hold up very well. Maybe it doesn't pull back very big, or maybe people continue to pile into it. But I don't think it's going to go straight up until the financial markets have a big reset. And maybe we see it start to rally well before the stock market puts in a bottom. It might sell off initially a little bit, but just like we saw in 2008, 2009, gold, silver, and miners were the first ones to put in a bottom and rally well before the stock market did. And I think it'll be the same here. So maybe gold and silver don't have a huge correction, and they're supported with everything going on. It still seems like one of the best, in terms of a safe haven kind of play to put your money that you don't have to worry about it just disappearing. It's definitely, there's a perfect storm more or less for gold, although it's felt like that for years. But if any time, it feels like every year we're closer to the more perfect storm for gold, just because, there's all the other avenues for putting your money, saving your money, are getting hacked or blowing up, and that's not a good feeling.
Now, as for silver, if you could share that chart with us. I know recently we have seen a significant rise, even on a percentage basis, more than gold. So where do you see silver stands right now, and what's your forecast going forward?
Yeah, silver's somewhat similar. I mean, I look at silver and the miner space a little different than physical gold, simply because physical gold to me is a safe haven asset kind of for the whole world. Whereas silver to me and miners are more of a speculative play, and they just don't quite perform the best. For example, silver is well off the highs, down 46%, more than that. Gold miners are the same. They're down like 40, 45% from the highs, where gold is, right up here threatening at breaking new highs. So there's a huge divergence between the riskier precious metal plays versus solid gold. So that's the big kind of difference. I like silver. I think silver's got those explosive characteristics, but I do feel like it'll be kind of in the same boat as gold, that it could pull back, it could consolidate here for a little longer before it starts that next big run up, towards that $50 mark and beyond. So they're all going to pretty much move together, but gold generally is the safer of the safe havens. It holds up better. It doesn't pull back as much. And it's seen kind of, if you were to go to some average investor, somebody who really just has an advisor, they don't really know anything about the markets. If they were to say, what's an alternative asset they want to get into, or would you, like to buy precious metals, they'd probably be like, yeah, let's get some gold. They probably don't think about the gold miners or silver. They just go for the next big asset that sticks in their head. And that's why gold is doing the best. A lot of people are nervous. And the average Joe is saying, well, I'll just buy some gold. I'll put some gold in my account, and it's holding up. So silver will play catch up percentage-wise when the market works this whole cycle out. Silver, as we know, can scream higher once it starts a rally. But I just don't think we're quite there yet. But it's got the same kind of scenario. It's going to take time for this market and recession to kind of work itself out. And then once the train leaves the station, I think it's going to be quite a journey. But I wouldn't jump the gun just yet. If you're trying to, try and time your entry a little better, I would wait until, either the trend is broken out, is confirmed that is going higher, or wait for a very sharp pullback and then add to your position going forward from there.
And what are some of those price points? You mentioned how, the confirmation of the uptrend or, a sharp pullback. So what are some levels that you're looking for there?
Sure. Yeah. If we take a look at silver, there's a few different levels on here. If we were to just throw a couple horizontal lines, we've got this previous high, we've got this previous high, and another one right over here. So there's a few levels for it to really start to work itself up. And typically I liked, for a trend to really change place, you need to usually see it break through a previous pivot high, generally, and sometimes even an internal high. So more or less, we're looking for, we've got a sharp pullback here. So this here is kind of like seen as a high, which it has broken. But this is kind of a previous high, a very important one. And I want to see an initial move rally up and break two previous highs. This is one high, and this is an even more important high. Once it's broken through two of those, any pause or pullback after that is generally an opportunity before it starts the next major leg up. So somewhere around the $27.50, $28 level, I think that'll be the sign that the trend is actually kind of starting to reverse. This is the monthly chart, and this is I like the monthly chart because it allows you to filter out a lot of daily chart noise. There's a lot of volatility on these charts. When you look at the monthly and the big patterns, you can be like, okay, well, if it can close above a monthly, previous high, that is very significant. Way different than one day it pierces through it and rallies really strong, but by the end of the day or by the end of the week or month, it has sold right back down, which is what gold has done on those last three major highs we saw on the monthly chart. It rallied up, got everybody excited, but it was kind of premature. By the time that monthly kind of investing chart closed, they were well off the highs, and then it went and, took months and months of selling, and it's just getting back up to those levels. So 2750 is probably going to be a significant level for silver if it can hold up there above the monthly chart. And that could be the start of something really, really interesting.
And on the downside, are there any price points, or is it just kind of a pullback from here that you think would be a buying opportunity?
Yeah, I think we could see it come back down to 18, potentially down to 14 if we go into a stage 4 decline and we get a lot of panic selling. Silver can pull down very quickly. It might be short-lived, come back down to those COVID kind of lows, or the COVID kind of closing and opening monthly bars. Silver is really volatile. It's hard to tell how far it'll swing, but I'd be expecting potentially coming back down to a double bottom, and maybe even pierce that and dip down into this kind of lower range that we saw during COVID if the market goes into a big sell-off. So there's quite a there's a lot of wiggle room. These are big trends. We're not zooming in on the daily chart. So just for these moves to take place from where it is right now, we're looking at a 9-10% move to the upside. We're looking at a potentially 20, 28, 30 plus percent pullback in silver to the downside. These are huge moves, but if you're an investor and you're looking to accumulate and go for the big picture, you got to zoom way out here. The last major super cycle was there. The next one pretty much started right over here. We had the COVID news-driven blip, but overall, we're looking for a multi-year run to the upside, just like we saw in the last market. So I think we're going to eventually see this continue to take off. It's just a matter of waiting and not trying to, get too fancy trying to navigate the wiggles on the chart. We're really just, I think everyone should have physical metals already. And then on a pullback similar to what we potentially could have, to me is like one of the last opportunities before kind of the rocket ship move or the train leaves the station. So I'm very excited about where we are. And if we do get a big pullback in the stock market and metals come down, to me, it's a screaming buying opportunity to add to your stacks before the next major run that might not look back for many years. And you'd hate to chase it when it's way up there in the kind of nosebleed section.
And it sounds like you're looking for this to happen pretty quickly. It's not like there's going to be a major, it's going to be a long-term pullback. It's going to be very short-term and spike to the upside where we could see this all happen in the next year. Is that your view?
Yeah, all this could happen before the end of this year. And it all depends how the market crashes. Is it a slow burn, takes a couple of years, or is it going to be like just, huge, strong selling, big down bars, a couple big down months that shocks and cleanses everything, and then things rebound. Who knows how the market is going to move? And every stage 4, every big market correction is different. It moves differently. It's based on a whole new set of reasons of why. Hindsight's always 2020. We don't really know what the main cause was until usually after it's pretty much almost done. But it doesn't matter because price action is price action. It's trending up, it's trending down, it's trendless. It's high volatility, it's low volatility. Depending on how it's moving, you have to apply a strategy to avoid chaos and to take advantage of the price trends. So I don't really care what it does. I'm just waiting for a new signal to either get long or to wait for a new opportunity to add to a position. And that's it from a technical standpoint. It doesn't really matter what price does or what the cause is. It's just if price is going up, we want to be on board. If it's going down, we want to be avoiding it or benefiting from the collapse. So that's the whole point of a technical trader here is to filter out the news and the reasons and just follow where the money is going, in or out.
Fantastic. Before we let you go, Chris, where can our viewers find you online if they're interested in learning more? And did you have any last thoughts for our viewers?
Yeah, they can find me at thetechnicaltraders.com. And that's for our kind of investing signals, our position trading signals. I also have the goldenOilGuy.com if you're more into the momentum, the smaller daily chart swings of trying to catch the rallies and the sell-offs in gold, silver, miners, and energies. So that's at the goldenOilGuy.com. I think final thoughts is you just need to make sure you know what you want to focus on in terms of what style of trader or investor are you? Are you trying to be an active trader and trying to catch monthly gyrations, or are you kind of parking your money, trying to catch trends in new assets as they start new rallies and not get too caught up in the intraday news? So you just need to pick, aggressive or kind of an active investor, one of those two directions. And sometimes people do both, but usually you got to master one before you take on a second strategy and just really focus on managing your risk, knowing the upside and the downside for each, because you don't want to be holding assets that are falling.
All right, Chris, once again, thank you so much for your time and God bless.
Thanks. Take care.
Det veldig viktig å ha kunnskap selv når du holder på. Du kan ikke stole på noen i dag. Alle snakker jo om hva de selv har. En aksjeselger, han snakker varmt om aksjer og fond, for de tjener pengene på aksjer og fond. De som selger gull og sølv, de vil jo hause av gull og sølv opp, helt klart. Så en må ha en viss kompetanse selv på hva du holder på med. For alle er selgere, alle skal tjene penger. Men jeg ser jo ikke på gull at det er noe som tjener penger på. Jeg har alltid sett på gull og sølv som noe jeg skal bare bevare verdien i. Så i det du klarer å stille inn hjernen på det, at du kun ute, du skal bevare verdien. Du er fornøyd med det du har, men du vil bare ha den kjøpekraften om 10, om 20 år. Og sånn er jeg begynt å tenke i 2016. Jeg skulle ikke ha noe jeg tjente penger på, for det alltid skulle tjene penger, så er det også risiko. Sånn er det bare. Det er ingen gratis lunsj. Men gull og sølv er 5000 år gammelt, minst. Og det har alltid fulgt inflasjon og sånn. Og det har lykkes veldig, for i 2016-2017 så har det mer doblet seg i norske kroner. Det er det ikke i dollar, for dollaren er jo så sterke, men norske kroner har vært veldig gunstig. Og det er på grunn av det at du går inn selv. Du må gå inn selv og bruke tid og få kunnskap om dette. Det er ikke for ingen som kommer og forteller deg noen gratis tips. Som regel så er det folk skal fortelle noe, for det er liksom litt sånn pyramide. De skal fortelle, så ser som media, skriver at nå har Elon Musk kjøpt bitcoin og ja. Og det er jo fordi at de sier jo etter han er kjøpt, for da skal andre folk også strømme til å kjøpe bitcoin. så går prisen opp. Når Elon Musk har gjort dette, så kan Elon Musk gå inn og selge en del av sine bitcoin. Da har han tjent penger på det. For det er sånn, det er på en måte bygd opp som en pyramidespill. Det ser vi i alle aksjer. De skriver nå han kjøpt en aksje, nå han kjøpt en aksjene. Så er det for liksom så hauser andre opp og at andre som kjøper de aksjene. Sånn er det virker. Så alt som har med aksje og investering, det er folk som er der ute og skal tjene penger. Og derfor er det så viktig å ha kunnskap selv hva du holder på med. Det er noen som sa det, jeg lærte det en gang, at du skulle aldri kjøpe en aksje du ikke visste hva du holdt på med. Hvis du ikke vet hva firmaet holder på, hva de produserer, så kan du holde deg langt vekke. For du er ikke bare å kjøpe for noen og hause noe opp. Og det ser vi jo med bitcoin og krypto. Det er jo hauset opp fra ingenting opp til over $60,000, og så er det plutselig ned under 15-20 igjen, og så er det opp i 30, og så er det ned igjen. Så er det opp og ned i jojo. Det er ingenting i realverdi. Det er bare hva folk tror det er verdt. Det er ikke mye historie på det. Mens gull og sølv, det vet vi er omtalt i Bibelen og i historiebøkene, og det er alltid vært. Det kommer ikke nye modeller, gull og sølv, det er ikke holdbarhetsdato på det eller noen ting. Så det er kun sikkerhet det handler om. Du ser på det som du kjøper en forsikring. At du skal forsikre din kjøpekraft. Så det er ikke noe bedre i alle fall. Så selvfølgelig så kan du, hvis det er ute til avkastning, så skal du holde på med aksjer, bitcoin, eller sånn, for det kan gå, er du heldig å plukke de rette aksjene, så kan du ha mye bedre fortjeneste. Det kan du. Men da hvis du er ute til det, da skal du holde vekke på gull. Gull, det er trygghet, sikkerheten du er ute etter. Da skal du opprettholde din kjøpekraft. Hvis du vet du hadde for eksempel 10.000 kroner i dag, så vil du ha kjøpekraften for 10.000 kroner om 10 år, i 2033 og i 2043 for eksempel, 20 år, så vet du det at det er gull. Men faktum er jo at gull har jo gitt godt. I norske kroner har du gitt de siste 5 årene 20% i året. Men det er ikke gull i kronen som har steget 20% i året. Gull har gjerne steget 4-5% i året gjerne. Men, det er den norske kronen som har dukket så mye. Det er det som har gjort at det har vært så veldig gunstig å sitte i gull for norske. På grunn av at den norske kronen er jo så kjempesvake. Det er noe alle ser nå. Så det der, du må ha mange tanker i hodet en gang. Men hvis du bare klarer å forstå at gull lever sitt liv, norske kroner lever sitt liv, og dollar lever sitt liv. Klarer du å skille dette her, så forstår du en del av det, og når du da ser på denne tekniske analysen her, Anna, så forstår du også en del. Så det er viktig å sette seg inn i hvordan spillereglene virker på dette. For da føler du en mer trygghet. Da forstår du det. Hvis du da kjøper, du kan jo for eksempel gå inn og si nå vil jeg kjøpe gull, og så plutselig går det ned 20-30%. Ja, det kan godt gå ned 20-30%, for så å gå opp igjen. For hvis folk får panikk på børsen og selger veldig med aksjer, altså disse papiraksjene sine, for de trenger penger, så smitter dette også over på gullet, så vil det også dette ned. Men jeg tviler på at det er så mange som selger det fysiske gullet, for fysiske gull og papirgull er 2 forskjellige ting. Det er viktig å forstå. Så det kan godt gå ned bitte litt som han skriver her, men det trenger ikke gjøre det heller. Det trenger ikke det heller. Jeg tror personlig selv ikke det skal ned. Det kan godt gå ned litt, men jeg tror ikke det skal ned mye. Ja, men så kommer det for det går bang gangs opp igjen. Men det som ikke han sier her også, det er at sier du får en sånn veldig pullback går nedover. Hvis du ikke får tag i fysisk gull og sølv, så er det akkurat like langt. For det som er problemet, når det skjer mye sånn turbulente tider som er nå, så er det ikke alltid du får tag i gull og sølv fysisk. Du kan kjøpe papirgull akkurat som du vil, men det er ikke sikkert du får tag i fysisk. Og det merket vi også i 2020 når covid-en kom. Da gikk plutselig provisjonen fra spotprisen opp til å få fysisk sølv. Da var det oppe i 50-60% måtte du betale mer. Altså, så sølvet kostet 200 kroner unsen, så måtte du faktisk betale over 100 kroner, altså over 300 kroner for en sølvmynt, bare fordi det er så høy pris mellom fysiske og sølvmynt, det var så mange som ville ha det. De kan ikke produsere nok. Så det er mange ting, det er ikke enkelt, så det ser jeg. Men jeg vil derfor si det, kjøp litt. Kjøp i alle fall litt, og kjøp litt hele veien, for du klarer aldri. treffe bunnen og bunnen, og du klarer aldri å treffe toppen. Og det er ikke derfor du kjøper sølv og gull heller. Du kjøper sølv og gull fordi du vil bevare kjøpekraften din. Det er grunnen det handler om. Så det er etter hva du er ute etter. Er du ute etter å bevare kjøpekraften din, handlekraften din, så er gull og sølv helt fantastisk å være i. Er du ute, du skal ikke maksimere, ja, så er det sikkert andre ting som kan være bedre enn gull og sølv. Så enkelt vil jeg si det. Men igjen, sett deg inn i dette selv. Bruk tida di, studer det, for det er kjempeinteressant. Se historien, hva er det gode historien handler om? Jo, det handler om gull og sølv hele veien, og steling og faenskap i verden. Hele veien. For det er gull som er verdi. Alt vi snakker om gull er gull. Men det blir lite fokusert på i Norge. For i Norge der er det aksje og bitcoin og krypto og sånn fiat-system. Det er det nymoderne. Det har ikke jeg overhodet tro på. Det er pyramidespill. Jeg har tro på dette gamle herrene. For det er ikke så bra å finne opp hjulet på nytt igjen. Gull og sølv har vært ekte penger i så mange tusen år at de klarer ikke å finne ut noe, så dunker det ut uansett. Så nå går vi tilbake til det gamle igjen. Det er i hvert fall min oppfatning.